My daughter is missing. I don't want you to find her. I've always wanted to be a mother. I remember when I was in kindergarten, all the kids were supposed to share what they wanted to be when they grew up. Most kids said things like firefighter, astronaut, doctor, cat doctor, etc. I said, mother. My teacher, Miss Moss, told me I could be a mother as well as something else and urged me to pick another dream job. I honestly couldn't think of one, but because all the other kids were staring at me, I blurted out, teacher. That made Miss Moss smile, but it made me feel bad because I knew I was lying to her. I've always hated lying to people. That's why I am going to tell you the truth. I promise. I always knew I was going to be a mother, but never in a million years could I ever have imagined I'd have a daughter like Freja. When was in my teens, I got my first serious boyfriend, Jack. I started birth control because I knew it was the responsible thing to do. Logically, I knew I wasn't ready to be a mother, but I still couldn't help the feeling of despair that washed over me each time I swallowed another pill. Emotionally, it felt so wrong, putting this barrier between myself and my longest-held dream. Sometimes I'd even cry. These feelings became especially acute when Jack and I decided to get married. I wanted to start our family immediately, but Jack wanted us to finish university and get settled in our careers before talking about kids. I agreed that was the logical thing to do. I kept swallowing those pills while pouring my longing into journals. I'd make lists of baby names and dream about who my child would grow up to be. Would they want to be a doctor, or perhaps an investigative journalist? Maybe their greatest desire would be to be a parent like me. I followed mommy bloggers online, memorizing their tips and tricks so I'd be ready to be the best mom ever, simultaneously wondering if my family would be as perfect as theirs. But I honestly wasn't looking for perfection. I just wanted to have a happy kid who would feel loved as their unique self. I knew whoever arrived, I was ready to love them to the stars and back. I was going to be the best mom. I knew I would be. Finally, Jack and I were ready to start our family. But it turned out harder than I had expected. Much harder. Months turned into years, and every negative test hit like a knockout punch. It never got easier. It probably didn't help that I was still following those perfect mommy bloggers with their perfect families. So I started following others who were sharing about their fertility journeys, people who were struggling as much as me. That helped me start sharing my own experiences. It felt so good knowing that I wasn't alone. It felt like being a part of this amazing community of people I had never met. Each time a fellow struggler finally found success, we all congratulated them joyfully, but alone with Jack I'd cry. I was tired of waiting for my turn. I know this wasn't only taking a toll on me, Jack was struggling too. One day, while I was crying in his arms, he asked me, if we aren't able to have kids, would a life with just the two of us be so bad? My silence was enough for us both to understand my answer to that. Jack and I decided to use all of our savings to try IVF. The process was tough emotionally and physically: injections, ultrasounds, waiting, but it all felt worth it to me. Then, finally, it happened. I was pregnant. The world finally felt like it made sense to me. Jack and I were overjoyed. I felt like I was walking on fluffy white clouds. That was before I knew what was coming. Child loss. We found out I was carrying a boy. We named him Oliver. But then, during a routine ultrasound, everything changed. The technician's silence and the doctor's grave expression told us what we didn't want to hear. Something was wrong. Those fluffy white clouds I had been walking on, they became dark storm clouds that surrounded me for the rest of the pregnancy. We knew our son wasn't going to live long after his birth. In the end, one day was all we got with our perfect boy. I loved him to the stars and back, and I still do. I just wish I could have done something more to give him more time. I couldn't help but feel I had failed him as a mother. The next days, weeks, months passed in a haze of grief, so heavy I didn't know how we'd survive it. The nursery we'd so joyfully prepared now felt like a cruel joke. Silence felt deafening, and any noise was the wrong noise. I'd like to say that our relationship grew stronger through our shared grief, but it didn't. I wanted to start trying for another baby. I thought it would help us step forward out of the darkness we had felt trapped in. I thought it would be good for us to have something to look forward to. But Jack said he wasn't ready. He said we had to build back up our savings. It didn't take me long to get him to admit that, actually, the main reason was that he was scared about having another sick child. Jack packed his bag to stay at a hotel for a night. He said he just needed a bit of space. He never moved back. Somehow in the midst of all this, I found myself back online sharing my story. The responses poured in, messages of love and shared pain, messages I clung onto with desperation as if each were a lifeline. I was in the bleakest part of my life, and those lifelines were essential. To make things even worse, I couldn't keep up with the mortgage, so had to list our house for sale. I shared all of this to my followers. Now I wonder, if I'd never shared anything online, would my daughter even exist? I think it was because I shared my story that the New Genesis Institute found me. Maybe Dr. Hart did personally read my posts, or maybe an algorithm pointed them towards who they were looking for. A desperate woman who would give anything, do anything for a child. I don't know how they found me, but I know that Freja wouldn't exist without them. It was early on a Sunday morning when I received this email. We are thrilled to extend to you an invitation to participate in an exclusive opportunity at the New Genesis Institute, a private fertility clinic dedicated to pioneering the future of human health and wellness. After learning about your fertility challenges and the heartbreaking loss you've endured, we believe you are uniquely positioned to benefit from and contribute to the groundbreaking work at the New Genesis Institute. Your journey has resonated deeply with Dr. Evelyn Hart, whose mission is not only to support those facing struggles, but also to advance the science of preventative medicine for future generations. To access your official invitation, please first sign the required NDA. There was a link to an NDA. I was nervous about clicking anything. It looked legit, but was this really some sort of horrible scam? By doing a quick search online, I learned that the New Genesis Institute was funded by Dr. Evelyn Hart, a billionaire philanthropist who had been funding health initiatives for years. There were hardly any photos of her. Dr. Hart appeared notorious for staying away from the public eye, but her name was credited on numerous scientific journals. She seemed super impressive. Dr. Hart had made her fortune early in her career when she innovated a disease testing device now used in clinics around the world. I suddenly felt something I hadn't in a long time: excitement and hope. My heart started to beat fast in my chest. I decided to take the leap. I clicked the NDA. Heart racing now, I skimmed an extensive document, gleaning it was meant to ensure that any and all information about the Institute would remain strictly confidential. I signed it swiftly and pressed submit. Then I was taken to my official invitation. I'll share it with you here. And yes, I do realize I am breaking my NDA, but I'm more than willing to risk all consequences to get this information out to everyone. Thank you for considering the New Genesis Institute. Founded by renowned Dr. Evelyn Hart, the New Genesis Institute is at the forefront of revolutionary research in preventative medicine, with a focus on creating healthier and stronger generations. We are conducting a series of elite fertility treatments, designed not only to help women conceive, but to ensure that future children are born with optimal health to give them the best possible chance in life. Should you decide to take part in our program, you will receive personalized fertility treatments designed by Dr. Hart and her team, accommodation during your treatment and pregnancy at the New Genesis Institute, personalized health care for the duration of your participation, financial support for you and your child in the years of their development, in exchange for participation in scheduled health monitoring for research purposes, the opportunity to contribute to a better future, ensuring that the next generation is equipped to thrive. This invitation is offered to a select few individuals, and is fully funded by Dr. Hart's personal investment in the future of medicine. Your resilience and willingness to embrace new possibilities have made you an ideal candidate for our program. If you want to participate in our innovative fertility program, please RSVP at your earliest convenience. We look forward to the opportunity to welcome you to the new Genesis Institute. I stared at that letter for I don't know how long, reading it and rereading it and rereading it. Then, suddenly, before I even realized I was making the decision, I was responding. Thank you so much for reaching out. Yes, I would love to participate. Their response came quickly. I received an email with detailed instructions. A private car would pick me up on March 1st, followed by a flight to their facility. The email explained that the new Genesis Institute was L.